wrapped up in my sleeping bag, looking out the window at Aaron's house as the sun is beginning to creep over the horizon. And the trees are silhouetted black against the emerging blue sky with the fading stars up in the sky. And I think to myself how much I hate Aaron because he's got it fucking made with this fantastic house of his, this nice little piece of property tucked away out in the backwoods of South Dakota. God, I fucking hate him. I hope he dies. I hope he dies of syphilis. You piece of shit.
And that's one of my friends. Never trust anyone who says nice things about you. Never. Guys, anyway. Girls, too. But if a guy, hey, you're a really good guy. I really appreciate this guy's going to stab me in my back. I am not going to wake up tomorrow. Something's wrong with I got to look out for that guy. I walk in. You smell like a foot. I could trust him. Oh, we got some zingers in poker, man. We got some good digs in poker. That's not what we're here. I'm confused still. The previous video was confused. This video, I'm still confused. And I have a question. And maybe those of you in the realm of the Passport Bro community, which I'm aware of, and I chit-chatted. There's a little bit of event overlap, but I'm no expert in it. I haven't gone overseas or nothing. Very sympathetic, completely understand. But I'm confused because I was listening to a video. I know you shouldn't listen to the internets, but it was excerpts of women who were really pissed off about the Passport Bros, about men going overseas, find themselves a wife or find themselves a girl. And normally, 9 out of 10 times, you could tell these videos are clickbait. They're just to get clicks. Like, oh my God, I have to work? It's so unfair. Cleavage, crucifix necklace in between the big cleavage. I want to be a trad girl now. Like, it's horseshit. That's it. But I think there was some authenticity. These gals were pissed. There was some authenticity to their aim. I don't think they're joking. I think they were actually being very sincere. And they were pissed that the Passport Bros or men in general would have the audacity to go overseas and find themselves a wife. And they were using words that were consciously and precisely chosen to paint you as villains and bad guys, that you are predators, that these girls are victims, that they are uneducated, the other things, victim oppressor narrative that is standard Marxist leftist horseshit. Go look up the victim oppressor narrative, and you can see it there. But I don't think they were consciously academic as that. I think they were sincere. They were pissed off. But then I have a couple questions. All right, first, what the fuck do you care, ladies? Being real here, as opposed to being fake previous time, you're not them. Fuck off. What if guys told women the same thing? These are my body, my choice, right? Invariably, these women complainers are leftists. I'm just not even going to bother polling them. That's a separate human being. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. As long as it's legal and the corresponding female is an adult or whatever the laws are over yonder, they have every right. Not breaking any laws. They can do whatever they want. And it kind of shows you the tyrannical nature where, how dare you? It's like, oh, man, can you just fuck right off? What? It ain't hurting you. Has nothing to do with you. Domestically, you see the same thing. There's a 38-year-old dude and a 23-year-old girl. All right? She's an adult, 23. She likes the guy, whatever. He's in shape, has his act together. He's 30. Yeah, he's going after the 23-year-old. And he says, I consent. And she says, I consent. And then there's a white middle-aged carrot who's like 53. I don't. Fuck you. It is none of your fucking business, you tyrannical Nazi motherfuckers. Period. That's not an opinion. It's not a preference. You don't own these people. They're not your slave. You have no right or sovereignty over them. They are independent people making their own independent choices. And by God, by golly, here comes well endowed Molly. If you were to apply the same criticism, lecturing, threats, or whatever, they would scream bloody murder about them if they wanted to go overseas and all. And I honestly don't think most men are like, yeah, you want to go overseas, do it. And have been like, yeah, you go do your thing. We don't care. I think maybe in times past, because of social pressure, perhaps, or more religion, maybe you thought you had a little a right to, well, maybe you ought to not do that. But now, modernly, 2024, no, what you want to do, you think very people are very libertarian now. Very libertarian, except for the women. Now all of a sudden they become Bible thumping, goose stepping, you must. Oh, I don't have sovereign. What rules would you like me to obey then, Miss Tyrant Lady? Should all get them little funny mustaches for Halloween. So that was one question. But then the bigger question I had, didn't you reject these guys? That's why they're going overseas? In most kids, not all, 150 million men, 150 million women in the United States. I'm sure some said yes, some said no, vice versa, both sexes. But having you largely rejected these men, if you said yes, they'd still be here, right? And you were kind and nice and sweet and feminine. But you rejected them. They weren't good enough for you. So then double why do you care? If you don't want them, you've rejected them, then wouldn't this actually be a benefit to you that at minimum they're not asking you out anymore? They're not bothering you? You don't even want these guys. What do you care if they go overseas then? And best I could figure it out is you got some really petty, controlling, insecure women. Because think about the logic in that. All right, we're going to reject you on the whole as a group, not individual, but in general, we're rejecting you. So much so that it's easier for you to go overseas to find marriage and all that. But we're pissed that you're going overseas to finding that. So what that implies to me is what? These guys are supposed to serve some kind of role as a rejection punching bag? You need someone to regularly reject? How? It's just sickening. It really, if you think about how dark and fucking evil this is, we don't want to have anything to do with you. Cool, I'm going to go and do this. How dare you go? So you own them, and it's not for anything as even genetically compelling as, well, we got to keep it within the community, or we got to keep it within the nation or the race or anything like that. I simply don't like you going overseas, even though I want nothing to do with you. How dare you? That's some sick, twisted motherfucking shit. Like, in times past, I'd ask a girl out, she'd say no. I wouldn't get pissed off. I mean, you get hurt a little bit. Oh, I rejected you. Oh, I'll show her one of these. I'll be. But I wasn't like, oh, how dare you? And you can't go over. You can't date that other guy. I didn't care. It's like, well, okay, you didn't want to go out with. I'm not gonna force you to. I don't want. I don't want to be a tyrant. I want to be a babysitter. I want to like. Who wants that? They don't even want you. What? You need them just to sit there and not pine for it. There's something seriously wrong with people like that, where no, I don't want you in my life, but I still want to tell you what you can and can't do. That is some. You'd have to go get Hitler and Stalin and Pol Pot and Mao Zedong and get them all this. And the current guy who's in charge of North Korea, I don't know who that is. You all better get those guys together and say, what level of dictator tyrant shit, like, did y'all contribute your DNA to come with a super tyrant? I mean, I guess Stalin would be the closest, but God, I don't imagine Stalin gave a shit who people were dating. And so I don't know. I don't really hang out in the Passport Bro communities or discussion boards, but maybe you guys got an answer. But that was one thing where I'm like, wait a minute, do you just reject these guys? Then what do you care? One, what do you care if they leave? That's them. Two, after you rejected them, now you still care what they do? There's some dangerous shit in that mentality. Very dangerous shit. All right, link below. I have 2 books. The Book of Numbers, Analyzing ROI in the Pursuit of Women. The numerical like, it's like, oh, yeah, the numbers bear out. And I can understand if you guys are going over, especially if you wanted to get married and have kids. Yeah, it's no different than economics. Oh, our country ran out of iron. We can't build cars here anymore. Better go import it. There ain't no iron here anymore. And you go look at that Book of Numbers. It shows you just how few women there are that are marriageable. Men, that's another issue, also low. But yeah, you're not. If there's anything as an economist, someone who's researching numbers and data, you guys should have absolutely no shame whatsoever. They just don't exist in the numbers here in the West. If you're looking for a traditional stay-at-home wife, get married, yes, there are some women here, of course, but not in the numbers of men who would like that. It is literally like, dude, the iron ran out. We got to go to whatever. We got to go to Colombia to get the iron. We got to import it from Japan or wherever there's iron mines. I don't know. Not a geologist. All right. Any super chats? No super chats. There you guys go. All right. Questions answered. See you guys later. Toodles.